And you're seeing that with just in today's economy. You see a lot of, what is it, the majority of people imprisoned are African American or whatever, and then you have people saying, well, they commit most of the crimes. Well, they get arrested for most of the crimes more than likely. They get tried and get harsher sentences for most of the crimes, and a lot of these crimes are in cities because a lot of that population is in the poorest neighborhoods in the country. So whether that's rural, whether that's urban, and I don't know the statistics for sure, but I'm sure you can look up and see the majority of African Americans or Hispanic Americans that are in certain demographics, whether that be urban or rural, that's going to be a lot higher than the suburban. And even in the suburban areas, you'll see that they're incarcerated more because they are seen more as a threat. They are seen more dangerous, even if they are committing lesser of the crimes. And saying all that to say, it becomes one of those things where, again, you have to be a Dr. Martin Luther King even in this, situation. And then even as you're doing that in today's society, people see you as a Malcolm X. Because they're like, we already had Martin Luther King, just like Obama. We had our black president. So y'all go on somewhere with that. We're going to get our white supremacists in here. And, that's, I don't want to necessarily say that Donald Trump is for sure a white supremacist.
I'll say it.
Well, it's one thing that I remember on Bill Maher. It was something he said. It was hilarious. He said, I'm not saying that most Republicans are racist, but aren't most racist Republicans? And that's just stuck with me over the years, and that's really just the best way to describe that. And it's just it's just a strange world we live in, where people can see one thing 50 years ago, and then they try to equate that to today, and now it's just like, all right, you're good now. We're all equal. All things are considered equal. We're on the level playing field, even though you're still living in the projects from when.
But that's your fault.
Yeah.
Because you didn't pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Exactly.
The bootstraps that it used to be illegal for you to have.
Yeah.
Like reading, for example. It was legit illegal for call it former slave, whatever you want to call it, to learn to read. And they would even jail and kill white people for trying to teach black people how to read. So,
know your history.
And that's the thing. You talk about Martin Luther King Jr. He was definitely a pacifist. Definitely tried to work through the teachings of not only the Christian church, but of Gandhi. But he still was shot down. He still was gunned down. So I feel like it's almost a parlor trick. Like you want to say that we don't hate everyone. We really love the pacifists until we can no longer utilize them, or they have too much air quotes power, and then they got to go too. So then what's the incentive for being pacifist, right? The Black Panther Party was vilified, and there are notes from J. Edgar Hoover. Like there are notes, like if you really want to know this information, you can know this information. The Black Panther Party basically was created to support communities that weren't being supported by the regular establishment.
Yep.
But because they were doing such a good job at that, and they got so popular, then the establishment felt like, ooh, if they get too much power, like you alluded to earlier, well, they're gonna, they might take over. They might turn the police dogs on us or whatever. Many note, please look up the history of policing in the United States of America, and then the incarceration rates will make more sense. Yep. There was a football game that I stayed up to watch last night, and you can look up the stats. Anybody can. I do not claim to be a sports, scholar or anything like that. But I will say that one of the teams, it seemed to me that one of the teams was getting the preponderance of calls against them. The other team seemed not to. The commentators, my favorite uncle who I text every time we watch football together because he's across the country, and we all kind of were seeing the same things. Here's the issue. If the referees / police officers are only focused on one side, one team, one culture, then we really don't know what the other culture is doing. We really don't.
Unless you look for it.
Right, because we're not focusing.
Yeah.
Right, we're not focusing on them. So, why are African American communities? Why are communities of the poor? Why are they producing more people who are? I don't want to say more criminals now, because we got some criminals who are living really well, but no one's looking in that direction, right? And so, why are we only looking at one particular group? Is it so that we can vilify that group? Circle back to sports just for a moment, because you didn't mention sports, but you touched on another phenomenon that I think is worth paying attention to, and that is that of, I think you said we have 99% of whatever.
Yeah.
Why are we focused on the 1%? Okay. I grew up at a time where you did not see a black, I'm not even going to say African American, you did not see a black head coach of a major NFL team. Not to pick on the NFL.
Certainly not an owner.
Well, we can still talk about that. But and quarterbacking. So you didn't see black quarterbacks because the quarterback is the on-field leader of the team.
Correct. Yep.
And so subliminally what you're saying is that a black man cannot be the leader. Where have we seen that before? A black man cannot be the leader of something as important as a football team. So you fast forward to now. Now, people of my generation will be halfway into a game and realize, wait, both the first string quarterbacks are black. Wait, both the coaches are black. These teams they're strong and they're winning. And so it's only a matter of time, because this has happened already in basketball. I don't know if you noticed, like basically any platform that minoritized people are allowed to compete fairly in, we compete as well, if not better, as anybody else.